Allison Guilliams. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Winterpock Elementary School. I teach in the Center-Based Gifted program. I mostly teach math and writing. I've been using Canvas this year for all of my math classes and for my homeroom class and for writing. We use it for problem solving, for tests, and for modules to help the kids access their notes and any material that they need. Well, one of the things was I knew that it was going to be an expectation in the future. Our principal said it was definitely a soft rollout and that it wasn't expected this year, but that they wanted us to start playing with it. I had just moved from 3rd grade CBG to 5th grade CBG, so since I was creating a lot of new things anyway, it seemed like a good time to go ahead and start creating things on something that was going to be expected in the future. Plus we have some students that are out a lot. We have one that's on homebound, so it's a good way for her to be able to access the curriculum that the kids are also accessing in class. It started off because I was giving them brain game questions, and so every day they get a different question, and I put it up as a discussion question. The kids, they can see what the answer is after they answer it, and then they can also see what everybody else in the class says, so it's something that they come in and they do as morning work. We also put up surveys, but then when I was out one day, I figured out that I could also put up the morning board so that it's something that they can still get to even if a substitute is in here, since they can't get to our computer, just so that it has that same consistency that you get with the everyday classroom. So this is where, since I teach 3 different classes of math, that we use it the most. It started off because I was using it to make the quizzes and to make the county tests in Canvas. I like it better than using PowerSchool because the parents can also see the county tests. This way they can see also what the kids have typed in as their answers or chosen as their answers. You can also comment on it, or you can make annotations right on their classwork. You can create the modules and you can qualify like what score they need to get for a quiz before they move forward. You can make sure that they've watched a video and completed something like a question before they go on to the next thing. I can add notes so that if they forget a notebook at home or something, they can get to those. So that's all become part of the modules. The modules, as I've started to get better at them, have grown in size. It's also really good because kids that have mastered something, if you create a mastery path, then if they've aced something at the beginning, you can make it where they can pass some of the things in the modules. One thing I did find really helpful whenever we were doing the integers part, or the integers module, was if you make formula quizzes, then you can set parameters and it will randomly select questions for you. So I didn't have to sit there and make 10 question quizzes. I could pull from a bank of 200 questions and the kids would keep getting different questions, so they couldn't just memorize the answers. I teach 3 different sections for math, and it's really nice because instead of like with Google Classroom, where if I was doing an assignment, I'd have to put it up in 3 different Google Classrooms, I can just put it up one time and it goes out to all 3 sections. Or like we're doing a graphing project right now, and so they needed to survey more than 50 people. Well, there's only about 25 students in each class. They shared the surveys with me and I put the links in on a Canvas page, but since all 3 sections could get to it, they could easily get 50 people to answer the surveys. So I was able to do that for them in an easy way and share it out to more than 75 people.
That's cool. So it's like one big math community.
It's one big math community.
Or you can keep it separate.
Yeah, and you can make it so that kids can either talk to each other in just their section if you want to do a discussion, or you can make it so that they can share things with other people. It's really nice for the writing prompts. I can have them submit their writing prompts online, and that way I can access them at home, and it saves a lot of paper. And then walking to and from a printer or something. I can also see the different submissions. So if a child submits something in Canvas and then they make changes on a Google Doc, instead of just having to go back and look at all their different edits, it submits it as a completely different file. So there's none of this, well, I shared it with you, and then you're having to figure out which time a kid maybe did some changes or some edits, because every time they have to hit the submit button, you get to see what time they submitted it, and it's a whole new file document.
So it's like a snapshot of the document.
It is
in
a
that
snapshot,
moment in time.
yeah.
That's cool.
So the kid can still make changes and can still submit a new document if you ask them to change their writing prompt, but you can see where they've had to submit it 2 or 3 times.
Now, how have you been able to give feedback, like in the writing prompts? Like, I know typically, you know, in the past, we've always added comments, you know, within the Google Doc. In Canvas, have you found it difficult to make comments?
It's easier in Canvas to make comments. When you go and you hit the speed grader tool on the side, you can pull it up student by student or by class and then by student. And there's a bar that you pull down. You can choose to just add a comment on the side where you add the grade, or you can choose to highlight and then type. You can add text. You can strike through text and then type a comment, or you can circle and free draw annotations. You can box things. So it's almost like drawing on it with almost like a paint.
Yeah,
and
that's
then you
great.
can type your comments over to the side.
That's cool.
I've gotten better about making buttons. Have talked to my kids a couple times about how they move through the modules. And they really like using the buttons. So one of the things that I've done, I have just a button page like in a Canvas folder in Google Docs, so that I don't have to continuously make new buttons. I just copy and paste and change the type. So that's definitely one thing that I would do. My buttons also don't stay the same. So it's something my homepage constantly changes based on what we're doing, just to make things easier for the kids. Usually what we're working on is up near the top under the visual at the top for our homepage. The kids can work through the things, the navigation bar on the left. I've taken some of the things out where you can in the settings. I had originally taken the grades out, but they figured out how to get to it anyway in a roundabout way. So it was something that I went and I put back in because they were always so interested in seeing what they were getting on something. So since they were interested in that, I went ahead and I put that back in. So having that freedom to take things out and put them back in when they needed them or when they wanted them, that was nice to have. There's also definitely a learning curve for the kids. They're used to using Google Classroom and they're used to how that works. So, you know, there are a few things. There's always going to be those few technology issues. I know at the beginning, whenever we first started, we were having trouble getting the pictures to work. But Becky kind of helped us work through that. And after we figured out how to make the pictures show up every single time, the kids got used to it. We found out a lot of it had to do with clearing the history on the Chromebooks, and it doesn't happen so much anymore. So the kids know the first thing to do is clear their history and then reload. If that doesn't work, they know to open the image in a new tab and hit reload. Like, now they know how to troubleshoot it by themselves. It just took a couple times.